introduce you to my new pup. It is a cold, cold Montana winter day, January 13th, 2024. I'm a fourth generation Montanan, and I'm still not used to these cold, cold days. I'll show you in a moment just how cold it is. Woo! Cold enough to freeze your boogers. Check on the chickens here. They won't even come out of their coop. Hi, ladies. Yeah, hanging out under the heat lamp, huh? Don't blame ya. All right, stay toasty. Anyway, life threw a giant monkey wrench into our Wallapini works. Pretty much starting after the last video. Now, both my elderly parents are alive, thankfully. They're in their late 80s, independent, live alone. Been together almost 70 years. So kudos to them. We don't live in the same town. They're about 80 miles from me. But both of them, starting in June, took some bad falls, both of them, different times, resulting in hospital stays, rehabilitation, and Jim and I spending most of our summer into our fall up at their place, living with them, helping them through their recovery. And thankfully they're on the other side of it, and both of them are doing well, back to living in their home. Got them some home care. So past that hurdle, Jim was scheduled for some knee surgery in October. Had a knee replacement. So he's still recovering from that. And about a week or so after his knee surgery, while I was taking care of the farm, doing the chores, I took a terrible fall outside. Fell over backwards. Crashed through some structures. Broke a couple ribs. Or if any of my subscribers have ever had a broken rib, then you know it is no joke. I mean, you're okay. It doesn't hurt too bad as long as you don't sneeze, cough, laugh, or do anything that involves moving your torso. So yeah, finally on the upside of the broken ribs, just in time for our severe winter. Ooh. But got to get back in the house. My hands are freezing. There's the temperature at about 8:45 in the morning today. Minus 34. At about 6 a.m. it was minus 38. But notice here with the wind chill, it says it feels like it's minus 51. Now it's warmed up a little bit since then, but it's still pretty cold. So for the rest of this video, I am going to do a memorial for my dogs. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you've seen my dogs running around in the videos, especially this one. This is my Czechoslovakian Wolf Dog. This one over here to the left. He was my German Shepherd. And most of my dogs have been dogs that have been rescued from shelters. And we're just partial to the German Shepherd Wolf Dog breed. And it was a rough late 2022 into 2023. I lost Two of my German Shepherds in 2022, they both died of old age. They were raised together, always together. So when the female died, it was about 4 months later and the male died. He was just so lonely without her. This is my female here. She was also rescued from Montana German Shepherd Rescue. We got her when she was about a little over a year. She was removed from her home because of abuse and put up for adoption. And what a good girl. Here she is with my granddaughter. Just a real gentle, good dog, good with all the other farm animals. And we had her probably over 13, I think she was 14 years old when she passed away. But yeah, real good dog. He's a male. He was actually my son's dog, but when my son grew up and went off to college and life, he just stayed with us. Also another really sweet boy. We spend a lot of time with our dogs, training them. They're with us the majority of the time. But it started with this one. He is a Czechoslovakian wolf dog. He was the first one we adopted. He came out of a shelter too. He was rescued from a terrible puppy mill where he was so emaciated, near starvation. And Jim and I changed our life circumstances where we started our own business so we could be with larger animals a lot without having to kennel them. So actually it was very serendipitous that I found this dog. I went to the shelter to get a cat, saw him and came home with him, found out about his life story, and this was my husband's heart dog. His favorite dog he ever had. They were constant companions. He took him with him. My husband's an electrical contractor, so he took him with him on jobs, was always by his side. So I want to say we adopted him when he was probably close to 7, and we had him for 7 years, and then he got terrible hip dysplasia, and yeah, it was awful. But he created the love of the Czechoslovakian wolf dog breed. And so I'll get into my heart dog. If you've watched my videos, you have seen this camera hog, photo bomber, in many of my, in practically every video I made on the Wallapini, because he was my companion. And he is a Czechoslovakian Vlcak. He was also adopted from Montana German Shepherd Rescue, where he was taken from his original owners because of terrible abuse. I'm not even going to get into the details on that, but let's just say it was horrendous. So we work with our dogs to train them around our livestock, our chickens, our cats. And it just takes a lot of repetition, a lot of patience. But yeah, he never killed a chicken. I never lost a chicken so far to a dog. And it's just something that you have to keep reinforcing and training. So, a little bit about a Czechoslovakian wolf dog. This is not a breed to own if you have never had any experience with large dog breeds. They are not as easy to train as German Shepherds. They can be trained, but it takes a lot of training. And it never stops. It's 24/7 training with these guys. German Shepherds are quite easy to train. They respond really well to commands. But a wolf dog, who were bred from German Shepherds and Carpathian wolves, they have a lot of wolfiness in them. About 25% to 30% wolfiness. So they have more traits, more instincts like a full-blooded wolf. I love this picture. They're very athletic. They're escape artists, master escape artists. In fact, my dog easily got out of the kennel numerous times where we had to reinforce it with really heavy duty wire. They do not like to be separated from their owners. They form big attachments, unparalleled to any other dog I've ever had. They become very, very attached to their human, where they experience separation anxiety if you're gone from them for too long of a period. In this picture, we're on a hike, and my female, I think this is when I just adopted him, and my female, I guess, is showing him that, yeah, she's still the boss. You might be the new kid on the block, but I'm the boss. And because he looks so much like a wolf, when we went hiking in the mountains around here, I would put on a orange safety vest on him, just so that if he ran up ahead of us and there was someone else, they wouldn't mistake him for a wolf. Wolves are very controversial in Montana. You either love them or you hate them. We live close to Yellowstone National Park, where they did the reintroduction of the wolves quite a while ago, and a lot of resistance to that movement. I love this picture. Just him chilling with the 2 chickens. And you can see, you know, like I said, it is not impossible to train these. It takes a lot of socialization, a lot of working. He was great with all my extended family. He was great with my grandchildren. He did like chasing the goats a little bit, but mostly just to get them to run. Yeah, I took his collar off him for this picture just so you can see the wolfiness look to him. But Czechoslovakian Vlcaks, again, going back to them. So, like I said, I adopted him out of Montana German Shepherd Rescue, and he was adopted by another couple prior to Jim and I getting him. They had him for me not very long. They both worked outside the home, and they crated him. Well, he managed to escape out of his crate, and true to the nature of this breed, he destroyed their house. He literally demolished their sofa and recliner. So they felt that he wasn't the breed for them, and he was returned to Montana German Shepherd Rescue. And this is another just a serendipitous moment of how I found him. I was just scrolling on the website, and I saw a picture of him, and I reached out to Montana German Shepherd Rescue, asked if he was available. They said no, he had been adopted. And I said, well, I know that's a wolf dog. I'm familiar with the breed. If you ever get another one, please contact me. I'm very interested in this breed. They're very rare and hard to find in the United States. According to the Czechoslovakian Vlcak Club of America, there's only maybe 200 or 300 of these dogs in the United States. They actually came out of, as their name, the Czech, well, when it was Czechoslovakia, now it's the Czech Republic. And a lot of, his first owner, where he was that he was taken from, actually adopted him. Well, she didn't adopt him. She purchased him from a breeder in the Czech Republic. So anyway, back to my story. He wasn't available, and a week after I asked, Montana German Shepherd Rescue contacted me and said, the dog's back if you're interested in him, in adopting him, which I did very happily. So I met the owners, his owners prior to me, and they made the trip to my home, dropped him off, and yeah, and then he was my shadow from then on. This is a foster cat that we have, a kitten, and just a great dog, which is they have a strong prey drive. And he did like to chase the cats a little bit if they ran, but he wouldn't hurt them. But he just a good boy. And I have gotten farther on this video than I have in the last 5 attempts I tried to make this. because when we got him, he developed severe epilepsy. So he would suffer from grand mal seizures. We had a battery of tests ran on him, toxicology, scans, x-rays, you name it, and it just sometimes happens. He just had epilepsy. And once we got him on medication, we could control the seizures. It didn't eliminate them. He would have maybe 1 or 2 a month, but then sometimes in certain months he would just have clusters of them. And he would be put on more medication, taken to the vet. He was my costly dog, but he was worth it because I got so much joy out of him. But then he started developing what they call ghost symptoms, where they're a type of epilepsy where they all of a sudden they jump up and they act like they've seen a ghost, or like they sense a presence or something in the house. They act very weird. It's a little eerie, but it is a type of epilepsy, and he started having them more and more. So he was to the point where he had them numerous times a week. And he would come out of those pretty good, but then the grand mal started affecting his vision. Once he had a grand mal for a period of time, for several minutes after, he would be blind. And yeah, he was just very special. But my beautiful regal boy. So back to their traits. They also are very food motivated. So with these dogs, if you leave any type of food on the counter, they're going to sneak their way to it, and it's gone. I've chased him around the house, prying packs of steak and hamburger out of his mouth many times. And I mean, they're fast. They're sneaky. You turn your back 1 minute, and they're going to have it. So he would have to be outside or in the garage or something if I was cooking meals. My daughter took this picture. I'm fly fishing here, and he's just playing in the water, hanging by me. So right after I fell and broke my ribs, it was only a couple days after that, and he had 7 grand mal seizures in one day, and the 7th one, he didn't make it. Yeah, it took his life. So he is buried in the garden. I get very emotional when I talk about him and the loss I had. My German Shepherd that I have now, my new girl, I did get her. She wasn't from a shelter per se. She was posted as needing a rehome, a nice young couple. They weren't abusive or anything. Just life circumstances, they were looking to rehome the dog. So I reached out to them, but that was after I lost my wolf dog here. It's another hike we made. This picture just cracks me up. And this is my favorite picture of him. A friend took this picture. Shout out to Jessa. This is my favorite picture of my wolf dog. You can see him stretched out. This is another thing of the breed. They lay like this. I think it's cooler. But again, if you're a couch potato or you are not active, you don't have access to an area where your dog can exercise and run, I would not get a breed like this. This is not a lap dog. They need a lot of attention. They need a lot of exercising. The training methods that you use for other dogs do not work for them. They don't have that type of attention span. You need to break up the training, make it extremely varied. They get bored. Same thing with if you're training with balls. They get bored within 10 minutes and you can tell they'll just they'll just check out. And but not saying they can't be trained, because they can. They're not also a good guard dog like a German Shepherd is, because the wolf has more of a self-preservation tendency. So if you're thinking you're going to get one of these dogs, even though they look formidable, they are more likely to run or take off or not engage in any type of guard activities. German Shepherds are probably a better dog, and Belgian Malinois are probably a better dog for if you're wanting a true guard dog. They have their characteristics that make them very endearing to people who can put the time and effort into them. And I apologize for my throat. I think I'm getting a head cold here. He was special. And I only had him maybe 4 years. But I'd like to think that with us, he had a good life. Everybody in my family, my extended family, my friends, just once they met this dog, they fell in love with him because he was that special. So I'm going to end the video here because I'm getting weepy just thinking about him. And as soon as we hit the spring, and I hope that's an early spring, and for us an early spring means April, and we can get back out there in the Wallapini. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit that like button, and we'll see you on the other side of the snow.